Most people with colorectal cancer are obsessing over what they eat, but they may be completely ignoring something they drink every single day. Studies now show it could mean the difference between 20 and 35% lower risk of death, and it's probably in your hand right now. Welcome to the Colorectal Cancer Outcomes Research Channel. I'm Dr. Devera. I was diagnosed with colorectal cancer at 36, and today I'm also a PhD cancer researcher. I'm still new to YouTube, and one of the things I want to do here is something I'm calling Research Meets Real Life, bringing research studies to people living with colorectal cancer that are practical, relevant, and ones I actually use to help guide my own life after cancer. Coffee is a great example. It's part of daily routine for so many of us. Did you know it's the third most commonly consumed beverage in the world after water and tea? It's also been studied extensively for its health effects. So why not grab a cup of coffee, join me, and let's talk about what the research actually says about coffee and colorectal cancer. Coffee isn't just a beverage for a lot of people. It's familiar, it's routine, it's tied to moments and memories. For me, some of my happiest childhood memories are drinking coffee with my grandpa before school in the Philippines. Yes, I was that kid who drank coffee. So coffee isn't abstract to me. It's part of how life feels normal. And at the same time, coffee is also a curiosity to me as a researcher. It's actually one of the most studied substances in health research, which makes it especially interesting when we start thinking about health and cancer. So as someone who has lived with colorectal cancer and who studies it as a researcher, I found myself wanting to know something very simple. Does coffee actually matter when it comes to colorectal cancer outcomes? Coffee has been linked to processes like inflammation and how the body handles glucose, processes that are already known to be involved in colorectal cancer progression and survival, which is why researchers have actually studied this question by following people with colorectal cancer over time and looking at how coffee consumption relates to survival. Let's start with a study that looked at people with late-stage or metastatic colorectal cancer. In 2020, researchers in the United States followed people enrolled in a large clinical trial while they were starting cancer treatment. Alongside treatment, researchers also collected information about everyday habits, including coffee consumption. Participants reported how much coffee they drank each day and whether it was caffeinated or decaffeinated, ranging from 0 to 4 or more cups per day. Now, compared to people who didn't drink coffee, those who drank about 2 to 3 cups per day had about 20% lower risk of death. And for people who drank 4 or more cups a day, the reduction was even larger, around 35% lower risk of death. Now, looking at it cup by cup, each additional cup per day was associated with about a 7 to 10% improvement in both overall survival, so how long people live, and progression-free survival, how long the cancer stayed stable. What's also important is that it just wasn't about the caffeine. The findings were similar for both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee. Caffeine on its own didn't explain the survival benefit, but because I was diagnosed with stage 3 colorectal cancer, even though I was excited about this study, I was also cautious. I still wondered, what about coffee and earlier stage colorectal cancer? That's where a more recent study comes in. In 2024, researchers in the Netherlands followed people diagnosed with stage 1 to stage 3 colorectal cancer over time, again looking at everyday habits like coffee consumption and trying to relate these to survival. In this study, people who drank about 2 to 4 cups of coffee per day had roughly 30 to 40% lower risk of death after colorectal cancer compared to those who drank very little or no coffee. And just like the study with the people with late-stage colorectal cancer, the association wasn't limited to one type of coffee. The pattern was the same with both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee, suggesting that caffeine alone doesn't explain the findings. So now we're seeing a similar signal across earlier stage and late-stage colorectal cancer. Now, it's important for me to point out that the studies I've just described show an association, not causation. That means coffee was linked to better outcomes, but it doesn't mean coffee caused longer survival. So this isn't a recommendation to start drinking coffee if you don't already drink coffee, and it doesn't mean coffee replaces treatment or changes medical advice. What this research does give me, though, is something more personal. For me, it means I can enjoy my coffee as part of my post-treatment cancer life, knowing that this everyday habit is aligned with what the research shows about better outcomes in colorectal cancer. It means I don't overthink the second cup, and on days where life is busy, maybe even the third or fourth. So I have to ask, how many cups of coffee do you drink in a day? If this video was helpful, please like, subscribe, and share so this information can reach others who might need it.